Hello, welcome to the Turret of Pleasure here in the Enchanted Kingdom of Hermione. I'm your host and the Lord Chamberlain, sometimes known as Lord Chancellor. Zip gun, sitting around watching airplanes crash, checking out Tristan da Cunha on the old Google Earth. And I'm going to go through my thrift stores acquisitions of the last week. Once again, thought-provoking, awe-inspiring, just everything about this hobby that I love encapsulated in one thrift store. During times of trouble, thrift stores and, COVID. So our local Family Resource Center thrift store, which is run by a whole lot of nice ladies who volunteer, and they actually run it like a thrift store. This stuff is essentially discarded items that they would like to process as quickly as possible through the thrift store and have some money be left behind. So rather than try to turn it into some kind of stupid boutique where nobody knows anything, they just say, give us 35 cents CDs for a CD. We don't care what it is. And as a result, I buy stuff in this thrift store that I'm not going to buy in the thrift store where they're charging $2. $2 is $2. So I found, I don't know, was it 18 CDs? And, that's $36 in the $2 store, but it was like under $5 in the 35-cent store. Needless to say, and this is always the case, there's tons of stuff in here I would have paid $2 for. But I'll show you what I got. These are sort of in, no order really. I got the Ultra Lounge, the second compilation. The first one is actually in fuzzy leopard skin cover. This is the cheap, bogus bamboo cover. I really like these stupid records. They were really popular, late 90s. Capitol put them out. What's on this? Munsters theme. Lots and lots of, like The Look of Love by Billy May. The Boy from Ipanema by Peggy Lee. So this, I have a soft nostalgia for this music because in the early 60s it was the music my parents listened to. And there's another example in here I'll show you later. Anyway, this is a great record to put on when you don't really want to listen to the music as opposed to just be kind of have your life accompanied to it. In perfect shape, 35 cents. I got a lot of these. I got what, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, counting the Mrs. Mills one, which, I paid $2 for the Mrs. Mills one. Anyway, that was the first one. Second one, now I had great hope that I would eventually find this someday for 35 cents, which I did. And this is an original, what is it, Columbia Record Club? I don't know. Anyway, this looks to be the original CD issue. And the only reason I needed this, didn't need it, but I wanted it, is because despite having the box set, nothing in the box set contains Hot Fun in the Summertime, arguably his greatest song. So that was really annoying when you buy the box set for $100 and it's not there. It was never on an LP. That's the LP box set. Of course, there are bonus tracks on some of the LPs, and of course they could have just put it on as a bonus track, but that would have been too easy. Anyways, now I've got it. Great. This is really neat. A lot of the time, this happens more often than you would think. An artist who I follow and, quite enjoy, kind of gets away from me. I forget about them. They put a lot of product, perhaps. And I kind of lose track of what they're doing. And I come across something in the thrift store. Now, one of the things I found was Roger Waters' opera that he did for Sony, which was, again, I think it was 35 cents. And I listened to it once. So now I know it exists. Now, I haven't heard this yet. I'm hoping it's good. John Cale, which I'll buy anything for 35 cents. If it's got John Cale's name on it, I buy it. But this is his dance music composed for a ballet entitled Nico. choreographed and directed by Ed Waab, who I'm going to guess is Dutch, performed by a band called Ice Nine. And they're a small chamber group, 3 violas. I wonder if that's anything to do with the fact that John plays viola. Anyway, I've always quite liked John's quote-unquote classical music. This contains a performance by him that I don't know what he plays, it doesn't say. And at the end it features a solo vocal by Nico to sort of close the whole ballet out. This is interestingly on Erato Detour. Erato, the French classical label that I absolutely love. They got bought by Warner Brothers and now they're just kind of nothing. They were kind of the spirit of France in the classical world. Detour is sort of a sub-label that I think was for stuff that wasn't quite classical maybe, or I don't know. Anyways, I look forward to listening to that. I haven't heard it. Then, now we're getting into weird territory. Okay. My friend W. Buzz Ryan will be really happy that I found Grant McLennan's Horsebreaker Star CD. And not only did I find it, I found I guess it's the UK 2 CD version. Apparently it was considered too country for the American market. 6 songs of it was. And so they made a single CD of it for America. And this is apparently harder to find. Now, Grant McLennan was the main guy in a band called the Go-Betweens out of Australia, I believe. And I will confess, I don't know much about them or him. But my dear friend, Tommy Holliston, is a big fan of these guys and always sings their praises. And so that carries water with me. Our band, the Show Business Giants, used to do a song by this fellow as an encore, and do you think I can remember the name of it? And it was a great song. It was really fun to play. I haven't played any of this. I'm saving it. 2 CDs. I'm going to wait until I can give it my full attention. Another weird one. Now, I've only heard of these guys, the Red House Painters. The Red House Painters, I vaguely remember from a time in the distant past. I remember that they were vaguely, quote-unquote, good, or regarded as good by the powers that be. This is a record entitled Retrospective, and it is, one disc is basically a best of, and the second disc is stuff for collectors, outtakes, live stuff. I haven't got to that one. Now, I knew nothing about this band. Other than, hey, 1990s, and they were on 4AD. Now, 4AD is a label. In their early days, I loved everything on 4AD. And then the kind of worm turned with the This Mortal Coil album. Everything got kind of deeper with the reverb. And some of the stuff I really liked. I really liked that Cocteau Twins stuff that was just buried in reverb and, wordless vocals, and it got very fey quickly, and then a lot of it kind of just didn't do it for me. Anyway, these guys are kind of, I guess, what I would call third wave 4AD band, if Rima is a first wave one. And so for 35 cents, 2 CDs, why not? What the hell? Let's see. Now, here's the fun thing. People are going to laugh. I didn't look at the liner notes. I didn't really do much of anything. I think I looked it up on AllMusic. Got a very quick rundown of sort of what they are. And I put it on. And the first song comes on. A song called Shock Me. I went, okay. And I listened to it. And meanwhile, I'm reading on AllMusic about what a great songwriter this guy is. And it comes to, what the heck is the line in it? Put on your leather. And I went, this is a really crappy lyric line. I don't think this is actually very good. Although it was being performed quite interestingly. And that's pretty cool. But this is not a very good song. And so I stuck through it. It was a decent performance. So I thought, okay, what's the second song like? Second song's a lot better. Very atmospheric, kind of a bit more teen angst lyrics, but not annoyingly so. Third song, Katie's song, again, heart on the sleeve, beautiful guitar atmospherics, very simple rhythm section. And I'm like, well, it's funny how that first song was such a crap song. Well, of course, and people who know me are going to laugh, it's a Kiss cover. Who knew? So even this wonderful introspective cloud guitar dude, well, he made it listenable. Now I have to go listen to the original. I don't know. That's not really high on my to-do list. But at any rate, I got about halfway through the best of and quite enjoyed it. It's going to stay in the collection. And I was quite happy to find it. And for 35 cents, this is what I love about 35 cents. If it was $2, I don't know. And that goes for David Beerwald. Now, I'm going to confess that in my haste to process these in the busy, crowded thrift store, I thought first, my brain got into the bees and coughed up Blegvad. Now, Peter Blegvad. Now, David Beerwald and Peter Blegvad are not the same person, but for a brief second, my brain thought they were. Peter Beerwald was in a band called Peter and Peter. They had some commercial success. Had I have not made this glitch in my brain, I may not have bought this. It gets 4.5 on AllMusic. I'll play it. I'll see what it's like. I'll get back to you. Okay, now for 35 cents, who's not going to buy a tribute to Hank Williams on Liberty Records, revived by the EMI group as the sort of bastion of country music? And it's a tribute to Willie Nelson, performed by the likes of Merle Haggard, Farron Young, George Jones and Melba Montgomery, Wanda Jackson, Willie Nelson, Sonny James, Jody Miller, George Jones, Tennessee Ernie Ford. There's a review of this on AllMusic. They fucking hate it. They say that I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry by Glenn Gamble is truly awful, and that there's only a couple of good songs on it. But I thought, what the fuck? I don't care. I'm going to buy it. It's Hank Williams. And back to our nostalgia for things that my parents listened to in the 60s. I couldn't resist this. 35 cents. The Nat King Cole Story. Now, what this really is, I thought this was going to be a best of. And because it's in the big fat jewel box, it would be an early Nat best of, because of course Capitol owns all of it. But it's not that. It is in fact a record that came out, I do believe, during Nat's life, and it was him re-recording his earlier hits in the new sort of late 50s, early 60s lush fashion that he came to adopt. And for example, Ramblin' Rose is not on this. And I didn't even notice that. I just thought 35 cents. The only Nat King Cole I have is his trio, which I like. It's good. I didn't mind the idea of having a best of, but it's sort of a best of, but it's not. Okay, now we're getting into the weird stuff. Not weird stuff, the dross. Neil Young, After the Gold Rush. Original. Not remastered, nothing like that. Turns out I already have it. Oh well, I'll give it to some kid. Then there was this. Now I'll buy pretty much, for 35 cents, I'll buy anything that's Duke Ellington. So this looked interesting. A Jazz Hour with Duke Ellington, Volume 2, Jump for Joy. Now, of course, it actually has recorded circa 1958 to 62. Okay, well, bless the Lord for Tiny Mercies. Made in EEC, which I do believe means pirated in Italy. Holland. But, again, in my haste, I opened it up and I went, wait a minute. That doesn't look like the right CD. Indeed, it is not the right CD. And after looking through a microscope at the edge of the CD, I found the number BMG 1997. It turns out it is Dixieland's Greatest Hits, which actually isn't a bad record. I don't know what to do with this. Now we're getting into the special stuff. Now I will confess that I have 0 Buddy Rich records. None. Out of 20-odd thousand titles. I've never been a fan of the myth of Buddy Rich. Buddy Rich to me is the embodiment of the show-off musician who just can't get enough of the limelight. It doesn't help that I've heard his band tapes where he berates his band in the bus, where he behaves absolutely shamefully. Unbelievable stuff to listen to. But I've cried laughing more than once listening to it. He sounds like a fucking asshole to work for. And, you know, I mean, we have him to thank for the endless drum solos of the 70s. And the sort of whole, you know, embodiment of the show-off culture in music, you know, like just the whole look at me, look at how flashy I can play it. So for 35 cents, though, I'll buy Buddy Rich because I know, for example, Steve Marcus, who I've got 3 of his CDs that I actually paid real money for, was his band director for years and years. And so, okay. Now I'm going to buy this because it's an original, it fulfills many criteria. It's an original issue. This came out like this in, I think it might have been 1968, on Pacific Jazz, which is a label I'll buy anything on. It's like Blue Note. It's basically the same as Blue Note as far as the corporate world exists today. Now, this is a really weird little record because the first 9 tracks came out as a record back and whenever. And then the rest were added to, I guess, this issue. And then 3 of them it's supposed to be live at a nightclub, the Shea Club. But 3 of them are from the studio, and it's all there's a lot of sort of, I don't know. I don't know if there was actually any overdubbing on it, but it's that kind of thing. Ernie Watts on alto sax and flute, who later played with Frank Zappa on the Grand Wazoo. So other than that, I don't recognize anybody else. But here's the thing. There are 18 tracks on this, and there aren't really very many drum solos. What there is a really good big band, absolutely swinging their asses off. And this is a really great record. So I'm glad to be shown the error of my ways. And just for good measure, there was this, which is the Pacific Jazz Years, the best of, which I don't know if it has any big swing face on it. I don't think it does. Mercy, Mercy, Mercy's on it. So this is all from the 60s. And it's all apparently just like that. It's really good. So that's pretty cool. You know, all right, great, you know, great. But then, just because, and again, 35 cents, there's this CD, Buddy Rich, The Solos. Yes, it had to happen, folks. Just like that lunatic that did Charlie Parker and only recorded the solos, Benedetti or whatever his name was. This was, who did that? One of the guys in his band, Alan Govan. What we have here is 8 separate drum solos from concerts in 1976, 77. Yeah, you bet I played some of this. Not a terrible recording. You know what I'm going to do with it, right? You know what I'm going to do with it. I don't even have to say it. Anybody who watches this channel knows what comes next. So we'll just leave it at that. And yeah, 35 cents. How happy am I? Now we're getting into the real serious draws. I cannot believe this. I didn't have this on CD. Now I have 6 copies of his Oh Canada CD, and we all know what's going to happen to that. But this I did not have, and David Foster, the Pope of Victoria, his you know, what do they call it? Basically his first solo record, his self-titled record. There it is. And I thought I know I've got it on vinyl somewhere because I like the cover so much. And yeah, I'm fascinated with this guy. This was an interesting thing. I didn't find it this time. This I found a while ago. Sealed copy of The Best of Me. The Best of David Foster. Now, this is a really interesting looking CD. and because it's done on Warner Special Markets, 143 Records, which is David's imprint, and Warner Strategic Marketing. Sorry, this is very fine print. Now, this all looks pretty normal until you read the last two words, Kuala Lumpur. So this is a Malaysian David Foster best of, featuring Madonna, Tony Braxton, Air Supply, Whitney Houston, Chicago. So I guess some of these a lot of these productions he played on as well. Lots of just dreamy photographs of the man himself. Now you'll notice this is still sealed. I am not letting the genie out of this one. No way. Kuala Lumpur best of David Foster. This was a quarter. And that, I think it's just going to stay like this. Just to document that it exists. Anyway, there you go. That was $5. And I don't know what to do with maybe the best of Dixieland CD. I can go to my brother's car lot and just sneak it into the CD player of one of his cars. See what happens when they start the car up. Anyways, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the notification button, and we'll talk about more stuff. I'm working on a big multi-book review and all kinds of stuff. So anyway, take care of each other, and hopefully by Labor Day COVID is over. Take it easy. Goodbye.